International football, of course, dominating things at the moment. But I tell you what, when domestic soccer returns, it returns with a bang. We've just taken Liverpool's schedule as an example. Take a look at this. Every 3 or 4 days, there's a match, and it's a proper match as well, because the Champions League is starting later. So that got us thinking, gentlemen, as we welcome in Frank Leboeuf and Don Hutchison to the conversation. How well equipped do you think, Don, are these big teams when it regards to rotating? Because this isn't the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup anymore. Every game will matter.
It certainly will, and it's going to be testing. You're right, Dan. You can't just throw youngsters into them fixtures that we just saw Liverpool that are going to be playing. I mean, 10 fixtures in a short period of time. It's an incredible amount of fixtures. So behind the scenes, I would imagine masseurs, physios, the sports scientist department are going to have to be on their game to try and get the players ready for the next fixture that comes around.
Let's take a look at the odds, shall we, as to who will win the Premier League. And why I wanted to do this is that we can highlight the teams that have no European involvement as well. And out of those that are the favourites, you've got Everton, Aston Villa and Leeds, I suppose, also in the conversation as well. Frank, you've got those teams in the Champions League. You've also got the teams in the Europa League, where even in that situation where you could field a weakened side, you've still got your manager away. You're still going to have part of your first team travelling. This is far from ideal. Do you think that could lead to maybe an Everton or a Villa or a Leeds winning the league?
Well, it's possible. Of course it's possible. And of course it's an advantage when you don't have a European campaign and you can rest the players and play your best team, every weekend. But teams like Manchester City, I think Chelsea, maybe 2 other teams, have the players they need to cope with those situations. We can put some question marks about Liverpool, because Liverpool have, I think 15, 16 players, and that's it. They're absolutely strong. If they are physically good enough to hold the whole season, of course they can go far and win almost everything. But we have to count on the pandemic and the fact that it was a strange pre-season, and we're going to have injuries, we're going to have players not feeling good, physically talking, and so it's going to be an issue. So, of course, Everton, with the player that they just got, without having a European campaign, can surprise everybody. And so can be Aston Villa. We'll see. It's going to be very interesting to see how coaches are going to handle all the schedules and the fact that some players are injured.
Ian, do you agree with Frank? Liverpool could be the ones who could be exposed in this period?
Well, I think Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola and the other managers who have teams in the Champions League most seasons are used to it, but it is more crammed this year, the schedule, and it is going to test everybody. I think the sports scientists will have their work cut out, keeping the managers informed about who's ready to go every 3 days. And remember, if you're traveling into Europe, you have to go the day before, you don't get back till the day after, so there's less time on the training ground. So your point, Dan, might be quite a good one. We've seen a lot of crazy things happen already this season. I wonder if we're going to see a lot more crazy things happen as the season develops. Remember, Leicester pulled off their 5,000-1 title triumph in a year when they had no European football.
Don, where do you stand on Liverpool and their depth?
I think it's pretty strong, but all it needs for Liverpool is maybe an injury to Sadio Mane and Mo Salah or Virgil van Dijk. We've seen Alisson, who's going to be out for 6-7 weeks, and we've seen what happened to them over the course of last season when he wasn't in the side and at the start of this season. So I think Liverpool are a strong side and a strong squad, but like any team across Europe, you take the main top, the main 2 or 3 main players out of their side, and they're obviously not going to be as strong.
Frank, what's it like when you've got all of these fixtures back-to-back with every single game mattering? Is that a good thing for a player? Is that what you kind of live for? Do you kind of go into autopilot, or does it really take its toll?
You might go to the autopilot and see what's going on, every game, and don't really care about the fact that you won or you lost, because 3 days after you have another game. But it's very exciting for a player. I mean, I loved for almost 10 years having that schedule, the kind of schedule, because you don't train. And it's boring to train.
Right.
What we like is to play games. And it's absolutely fantastic. Now, after saying that, you have to think about sleeping well, eating well, drinking well, resting well, and having some treatment with the physios. But no life outside of football, which is really compulsory if you want to achieve something. And that's the kind of life, like a monk, let's say, just a football player monk, and you just think and pray football until you're fed up and you quit, like most players do.
Don, I can't imagine you and the Liverpool boys when you were playing with Stevie acting like football player monks.
No, that wouldn't have went down well in that camp in the early 90s. But Frank's absolutely right. The later on you get in your career, when you're a lot more disciplined about the game, the best thing about the whole process of playing football is the games, and training sometimes can actually get in the way. And when you've got a really hectic schedule, it actually becomes, I wouldn't say easier, but you've got to be robust, you've got to be hardened, and the games just keep coming thick and fast. And you just get, as you said, Dan, autopilot. You play Saturday or a Sunday, then you Tuesday, Wednesday, then a Saturday again. And the weeks and weeks can then fly by as long as you're fit and you're durable, and more importantly, you're disciplined.
Don, do you think this overall could see a much tighter league?
I think so. I've got no idea. I mean, we've all, I think, got an idea who we think is going to finish in the top four, and who we've got an idea of winning the Premier League. And my tip was Liverpool. And then you go and watch Aston Villa beat them 7-2 at the weekend, and you're like, well, I'm not sure what's going on. I got asked the question today: will these crazy results carry on throughout the season? And I honestly think they will. I honestly think, with no fans inside the stadium, no adrenaline in the players, I think we're going to see a lot of teams play a lot more free, as we've seen in the Bundesliga and in the games so far. The away wins are coming out on top more so than the home wins. So how do you actually forecast anything these days? It's difficult.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.